The first time my mail went missing, I thought it was a mistake. You know how it goes. The tracking says delivered, but it's not there yet. Maybe the carrier scanned it early. Maybe it'll show up tomorrow. I didn't panic. I didn't accuse anyone, I just waited. Then it happened again. And again. Important mail, bank letters, medical paperwork. One package disappeared completely. That's when I knew something wasn't right. Before we go any further, if you enjoy HOA Karen stories where entitled people finally get exposed, hit like and subscribe right now. This is Karen Stories Daily, and this one took a wild turn. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood with an HOA that loves control. They regulate everything from trash can placement to how long your garage door can stay open. Most of the board members keep to themselves. But there was one woman who treated the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. Everyone knew her. Always watching, always reporting, always just checking other people's property. She acted like she worked for the government, even though she didn't. The first clue should have been how interested she was in my mailbox. She'd walk past slowly, sometimes stop, sometimes open it by accident. Once, I caught her closing it quickly when she saw me pull into the driveway. She smiled and waved like nothing happened. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but when my credit card replacement vanished, I knew this wasn't random. I contacted the post office, filed a missing mail report. The carrier confirmed delivery times that matched when I was at work. That narrowed it down. Someone was taking mail after delivery. Mail theft is federal. That's not HOA business. That's serious. I set up a small camera facing the mailbox, nothing fancy, just enough to see movement. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then, on the third day, right after the mail truck left, she showed up. HOA Karen. She looked around, opened my mailbox, reached inside, took something out, closed it, walked away, clear as day. I was furious, but I didn't confront her. Not yet, because people like her don't stop when they're caught once. They just get sneakier. Instead, I called the post office again and asked what my legal options were. That's when I learned something important. You're allowed to secure your mailbox as long as you don't harm anyone. So I did exactly that. I installed a low-voltage mailbox alarm system. No shock, no electricity exposure, just a loud, piercing alarm triggered when someone opened the box without a key. Completely legal, completely safe, designed to alert, not injure. And I made sure it was obvious. Bright warning sticker, small sign, clear message, mailbox secured. If she was innocent, she'd stay away. She didn't. 2 days later, I was home when it happened. I heard it from inside the house. The alarm, sharp, loud, unmistakable. I looked out the window and saw Karen jump back like she'd been caught stealing cookies. She slammed the mailbox shut and looked around in panic. Neighbors came out. Someone asked what was going on. She tried to laugh it off, said the mailbox malfunctioned. But the damage was done. People had seen her with her hand inside my mailbox. And I had the footage. After the alarm incident, things in the neighborhood shifted fast. People started paying attention. The same neighbors who usually kept their heads down suddenly had questions. Why was Karen opening someone else's mailbox? Why did it trigger an alarm? Why did she look so nervous when it went off? Karen didn't like that. Instead of backing off, she went on the offensive. The very next morning, I had an HOA violation notice taped to my door. It claimed my modified mailbox violated community standards and posed a safety concern. It demanded I remove it immediately or face fines. That's when I knew she was trying to cover herself. I read the notice carefully. It didn't cite any specific rule. No section number. No official board approval. Just her name at the bottom, so I didn't remove anything. Instead, I replied in writing, calm, professional. I asked for the exact HOA bylaw I was violating. I asked for confirmation that the board had voted on this notice. I also asked whether the HOA had coordinated with the local post office before making demands related to a federally regulated mailbox. I copied the entire HOA board. Karen lost it. She knocked on my door that evening, red-faced, clipboard in hand, talking fast. She said the alarm was harassment. She said I was targeting her. She said HOA members had authority to inspect mailboxes for compliance. That's when I told her, very clearly, that touching someone else's mail is a federal crime. She laughed, actually laughed. She said she was just checking for misdelivered mail. Said she had done it for years. Said no one ever complained before. That was all I needed to hear. I sent the video footage and audio of the alarm incident to the local post office inspector. I included dates, times, and screenshots. I also included Karen's written HOA notice, which showed she knew about the mailbox and still interfered with it. 2 days later, I got a call back. They were interested. Very interested. Meanwhile, Karen didn't stop. She avoided my mailbox after the alarm, but she started spreading stories instead. Told neighbors I was booby-trapping property. Claimed I was dangerous. Claimed the OA was looking into legal action. The funny thing was the OA board wasn't. One board member quietly reached out and asked what was really going on. I showed them the footage. Their tone changed immediately. They admitted Karen had never been authorized to handle mail or issue that violation. And then something even better happened. Another neighbor came forward. Then another. Turns out my mail wasn't the only mail going missing. Packages, letters, checks, all disappearing over the past year. Always near Karen's walking route. Always after delivery. Now this wasn't just my problem anymore. The post office inspector scheduled interviews. HOA emails were requested. Karen's helpful inspections were suddenly documented. The board went silent. Karen, however, kept digging. She sent one more email, accusing me of setting traps and threatening legal action if I didn't remove the mailbox security. That email became evidence. The moment the post office inspector got involved, everything changed. This wasn't HOA drama anymore. This wasn't neighbor gossip. This was federal. Karen didn't seem to understand that at first. She still thought she could talk her way out of it, still thought titles and clipboards meant something. When the inspector showed up in an unmarked car and started asking questions, she tried to play helpful, tried to explain that she was just keeping the neighborhood orderly, tried to say people trusted her. That confidence lasted about 10 minutes. They showed her the footage. Clear video of her opening my mailbox, reaching inside, taking mail, walking away. They asked her how many times she had done it. They asked where the mail went. They asked why she continued after being warned, after signage, after an alarm. She stopped talking. The HOA board was notified the same day. Suddenly, the same people who ignored complaints for years were sending emails asking to resolve things quickly. They wanted to distance themselves. They wanted it on record that Karen was acting alone, that she had no authority, that they never approved any inspections involving mail. Karen was removed from her position immediately. The inspector didn't arrest her on the spot. That's not how it usually works. Instead, they collected statements. From me, from neighbors, from the mail carrier. They took copies of HOA emails. They took Karen's violation notice. They took her threatening email about the mailbox alarm. Every piece fit together. A few weeks later, Karen received a formal notice. Mail theft charges, multiple counts. Federal level. She was required to return any remaining mail and provide a written statement. She didn't have much to say anymore. The HOA issued an apology letter to the neighborhood. New rules were announced. No board member was allowed to touch mailboxes. No inspections. No enforcement without written board approval. They even hosted a meeting with a USPS representative to explain the law to everyone. Karen didn't attend. She kept her head down after that. No more walks. No more clipboard. No more smug smiles. Eventually, her house went up for sale. Within a couple of months, she was gone. My mail stopped disappearing. Before I end this, I want to be very clear about one thing. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't shock anyone. I didn't set traps. I followed the law, documented everything, and let the right authorities handle it. That's the part entitled people never expect. If you've ever dealt with someone who thought rules didn't apply to them, drop your story in the comments. I read them all. And if this story kept you listening, share it with someone who loves seeing real accountability. This is Karen Stories Daily, And sometimes the simplest move doing things the right way is what finally stops a Karen in her tracks.